Is Denny Hamlin a really good heel or just kind of cringe? Should Michigan get its second date back? And Carson Hocevar, is he becoming the next Kasey Kahne? Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. I've got a new decoration for the shelf behind me. It is Mr. Red driving a Gen 5 NASCAR Cup Series car. No spoiler on it. We're going for max speed. Aerodynamics completely screwed by this gigantic head sticking out of it. But I'm still excited to get down to Bristol in August for the Speedway Classic between the Braves and the Reds. Also, last housekeeping bit. Closing Laps podcast. My friend Cameron and I, Cameron, former NASCAR pit crew member for actually all three series. He's been a pit crew member. And we decided to start doing like these race recaps on Sundays after the races. Sometimes it'll have to be Monday, just, pending on schedules. First one is up. I'll link it in the description below there. Eventually, we'll probably, transition it over to its own channel on YouTube as well as on socials. But for now, check it out there. It's the first iteration. There's some things that we need to clean up. Some graphics I know probably need to be worked on as well. But yeah, let me know what you guys think as well. Now let's get into what we want to talk about today. And we're going to start off with Denny Hamlin. Is he a good heel or is he just kind of cringe? Because on Sunday, after he won at Michigan, he got out and he delivered for the third time his "I beat your favorite driver" line.
Daddy, I'm sorry, but I beat your favorite driver, folks.
I gotta ask, like Marty did, who's that?
All of them.
He did it at Bristol. He did it at the Clash. Now he's done it at Michigan. And we'll get to that line in a second. I actually really dislike the first part where he's like, "Sorry, Daddy." I have a real problem with people, adults, calling their dad daddy, especially with the connotation in 2025 of sort of what daddy is. And granted, I know it's a Southern culture thing. I did not grow up in that type of culture. Every time I hear it, I'm like, ugh, it makes me cringe. And maybe that's what made me cringe about all of this as well. But yeah, I just don't understand that as well. Can we please, as adults, everybody stop calling their dad daddy? It's odd. It's weird to me. But back to the line real quick. I beat your favorite driver. Okay, fine. It's a good line if it wasn't delivered by Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin just isn't tough. Denny Hamlin doesn't deliver it in a great way. And you have people on the internet calling him NASCAR's best heel. He's a great heel. Is he though? I would throw a WWE reference in here, but I know nothing about wrestling, so unfortunately I can't help you out. But if you know a great heel in wrestling and you want to drop in the comments, go for it. Maybe you can educate me on this a little bit here. He does that, and then he walks down the track and he throws up the Ohio State OH portion of it, which would carry more weight if, Michigan hadn't beat Ohio State 4 years running now. I guess it makes sense, right? Most Ohio State fans are walk-on fans. Didn't go to school there, but they're a fan of it. Denny Hamlin didn't go to school there, walk-on fan as well. So he's just trying to stoke even more, fake villainism with, the fans. And I tweeted out that, hey, Denny Hamlin is cringe. And in an unexpected turn of events, the internet came back at me in support of Denny Hamlin, which was shocking because typically the internet hates Denny Hamlin. Fans hate Denny Hamlin. They don't like him. They think he races dirty. He wrecked Chase. He employs Bubba Wallace. He drives a Toyota. He whines too much. Like, there's a lot of things that they don't like about Denny Hamlin. But the second you say that Denny Hamlin is cringe, they're like, you hate personality. You just want Chase Elliott's and William Byron's out there, which is definitely not what I said. I just said that he was cringe because Denny Hamlin's not a villain to me. Denny Hamlin has tried to appoint himself the next villain of NASCAR. And hey, it's definitely something to lean into because he knows the fans don't like him and he has leaned into it. At the same time, he's not a very good villain. I'm sorry. I know people want him to be. I know he wants to be. But there's nothing tough about Denny Hamlin. When you think about a villain, Denny Hamlin doesn't pop up for you. He doesn't look like a villain. He's a dork, right? He's got that toothy smile. Even the line that he delivered, the way he said it, the tone of voice, nothing about that is villainy or tough at all. But that didn't stop people from telling me that it was a tough line that Denny delivered. And I agree. It is a tough line if it wasn't delivered by Denny Hamlin. NASCAR needs a villain, right? They've always had a villain. Kyle Busch used to be the villain, but Kyle Busch fully embraced being the villain. Kyle Busch did not care if people liked him. Denny kind of flirts around. Say the right things, and then he'll do this, and then he'll try to be the villain. Kyle Busch never said the right things, never did the right things, fully embraced the villain aspect of it, won, and then just went home. I was rewatching the 2008 Mexico race, and Rusty Wallace is like, Kyle Busch told me he did no preparation for this race. He just came down here because he likes to drive race cars. That's Kyle Busch. That's Kyle Busch to a T. And Denny Hamlin just isn't a villain. We need a villain. NASCAR needs a villain. And people telling me that, oh, he's the best heel that NASCAR has right now, it's not saying much because the current crop of drivers, personality-wise, they're not throwing their personalities out there very much. Carson Hocevar is, Ross Chastain is. Ross Chastain would be a good villain, but he's got to win more. Noah Gragson would be a great villain, honestly. If he wanted to be, he's got to win. Stuff like that. Carson Hocevar could be a villain because he truly does not care, but he hasn't won yet. So it's all these things, and we're stuck with Denny Hamlin as the villain, and I just don't think he's that good of a villain. So let me know in the comments. Do you think that Denny Hamlin is a good villain, a good heel, or do you think he's just kind of cringy at times when he wants to be? He tries too hard. It feels forced. Honestly, when he delivered that line, it felt a lot like Ricky versus Kyle Busch at the All-Star race last year, where like they had a good conversation, and then Ricky was like, oh man, I said I was going to punch him, so I guess I'm going to have to punch him. Denny seemed like he was fine, and he just felt like he forced that line in there for no reason. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Moving on, does Michigan need its second date back? So if you watched it, Michigan probably gave us the race of the year so far for the Cup Series. Heck, maybe even the race of the year for the Truck Series as well on Saturday. Attendance looked great on Saturday. Attendance looked great on Sunday. Camping grounds are packed out. They need to get their second race back. No, I'm telling you right now, they do not need to get their second race back because, well, we're going to go to economics class real quick. A simple lesson in supply and demand. So Michigan traditionally had 2 races on the NASCAR Cup Series calendar. Ever since 1969, nice, all the way up until 2020. 2 races a year on the Cup schedule, typically separated by 6 weeks, which is a pretty close turnaround. Definitely too close of a turnaround because at that point, supply is high and then demand dwindled, right? They took out grandstands. Having the races too close together just really hurt ticket sales for both races, if we're being honest here. So NASCAR, ISC decided, hey, we're going to put that date somewhere else because we want to diversify the schedule, cut it back down to 1 date. And guess what? Demand is high, supply low. People go out. Grandstands look incredibly crowded. Campgrounds look completely full. And that's why, because the supply is down. You can only go this 1 weekend a year, and it didn't rain for once, so great for them. Does it need its second date back? No. As much as we all enjoyed the racing, it doesn't need its second date back because at this point, you need to diversify the schedule. And I understand it. The Gen 7 car races really well in intermediates, 2-mile racetracks. And for the most part, we've spent the last decade trying to get away from those type of racetracks. Now everybody's clamoring to go back. So yeah, history repeats itself. Everybody's got something want to change about it. But no, we don't need to go back to Michigan for a second date. And honestly, where would you put it on the calendar? And what race are you going to take it away from as well? The Chicago Street date, that's an ISC date. That's going to go somewhere else. People are going to be like, oh, send that to Road America. No, we need to go to markets, not Road America. No offense to Road America here, but no. Then you have other things. Mexico, of course, that's an ISC date. Maybe you want to take it from there. You got Kansas. You got 2 Daytonas, 2 Talladegas, 2 Martinsvilles. Richmond has 1 date now. There's just really nowhere else to pull a second date from as it currently stands. So as fun as the racing was, no, we don't need to go back there twice a year. But I will say, as Cameron said on the Closing Laps podcast that we did together, they do need to have all 3 national series there. The Xfinity Series should absolutely be back at Michigan in 2026. Run a doubleheader on Saturday, trucks at noon, Xfinity at 4. Give the people what they want. Really packed out weekend of racing. And hey, those campgrounds, I don't know if they can get more full, but I think that would probably help out even more. On Sunday, Carson Hocevar once again found himself in contention to win his first NASCAR Cup Series race. He led the second most amount of laps on Sunday, behind William Byron, who nearly led half the race, but people didn't seem to care about it this time like they did in other weeks. And unfortunately for Hocevar, he cuts a tire down, and that doomed his day. Although I think fuel probably would have doomed his day anyways, because he was on the same strategy as William Byron, who ran out of gas at the end of the race and finished 28th, and Hocevar finished 29th. So he likely would have still ended up back down there anyways, but that doesn't stop people from being like, Hocevar is going to win that first race. And he might win that first race. But right now, it feels a lot like Kasey Kahne when he burst onto the scene in 2004 and then 2005. Kasey had 16 top 5s before he won his first NASCAR Cup Series race at Richmond in 2005. He didn't win at all in 2004. Knocked on the door a bunch. Knocked on the door, constantly waiting for somebody to answer and say hello. And every single time, nobody answered. It must be what a traveling door salesman sounds like or feels like these days. Hey, listen, no solicitation means no solicitation. Do not come on the front porch. I am tired of people being like, hey, do you want to sign up for ADT? You had to press the security button to even get me to... No, morons. But for Hocevar, it feels like he's there. He's contending, but it's always something getting in the way. He always comes up just short. And now we're getting away from the tracks that he has had success on, right? Charlotte, Nashville, Michigan, momentum style racetracks, mile and a half intermediates. We're headed to Mexico now. Are we going to see that momentum dwindle? We go to Pocono. That's not really an intermediate, but it's a track that maybe he could have some success at. And then you're off to Dover. Not sure there. And then you're off to Chicago and Sonoma. And there's a lot of other things that are going to get mixed around. And I'm not sold that he is going to be in contention. There's Atlanta that's going to be in there. Sorry, I forgot about Atlanta. Hand up. Forgot about Atlanta. That is a track that he finished second at earlier this year. So maybe he can get it done there. But it feels like we're kind of inching closer and closer to that Kasey Kahne style. We're going to keep knocking on the door. Now, Hocevar's not a rookie, right? This is he's not a rookie, but in terms of contending and kind of being with a team that can win races, this is the first legit year for that. Spire has done a lot of work with the help of Hendrick to get into this position here. And it feels like he's consistently running up there. But like I said, he's knocking on the door. Nobody's answering yet. And I'm starting to wonder if we're going to see that continue into 2026. Everybody's got Carson Hocevar right now pegged as the next guy to win his first ever NASCAR Cup Series race. And he very well may be that guy. But as you look at the tracks that are coming up, I start to get a little bit cautious of it. I would maybe lean more towards like a Ryan Preece as a guy that could maybe get up there and get it done. Never thought I would say that, but maybe he is. Ty Gibbs probably should have had it yesterday at Michigan if they let him go on fuel, but that's something that didn't happen. We're not here to deal in hypotheticals at this point. But for Hocevar, yeah, I think he's a guy that can get it done. He will eventually get it done. He's definitely matured over the last few weeks in terms of putting together a full race. I'm just not sure that he's at the point yet where he's going to get it done. And maybe that doesn't happen until 2026. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know he wants to get it done as well. But at this point, like, if you just keep running consistently, like, that's going to be really good. You put yourself in position to win a race enough, you're going to eventually win. For Kasey, it took a long time. For Sheldon Creed, it's taken an eternity at this point. For Carson Hocevar, eventually he'll get it done. I just caution people thinking that it's going to happen in the next few weeks. And it could. It very well could. But the way I'm looking at it is very similar. It feels very similar to me to what Kasey Kahne did, where he kind of burst onto the speed with his race-winning speed and then just couldn't get it done until he finally gets it done. Nearly halfway through, 2005. For Hocevar, first year he's really had that race-winning speed, and he's knocking on the door, but are we going to see it happen this year? Or are we going to see it happen in 2026? Had to wait and find out. Also, it being 21 years next year since Kasey Kahne won his first race, 20 years this year, blows my mind. I vividly remember it as well. So let me know in the comments what you think about Denny Hamlin. Is he a good heel or is he kind of cringy? Does Michigan need its second date back? Carson Hocevar, is he going to win or is he going to take that Kasey Kahne approach and take him basically like a year and a half and a whole bunch of top fives and top tens before he finally gets it done? Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BreakHardBlog.